Welcome to the strongest podcast that also talks Warhammer on the planet, the Strength Hammer Podcast, episode 108. Yeah. Oh, look at you. Were you a cheerleader?
No,
I mean,
I looked for this one, but
I would say to be fair, the way your build is now, I could see you have been a cheerleader, like a male
yeah, that's
cheerleader,
fair.
because like you need that huge strength. But
That's
um,
fair.
anyway, Alex, how you doing?
I'm doing so well, man. It's a good day. It's a good day to have a good day.
That's
How about
true.
you, Chuck?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. As mentioned to you before, kind of fell into some some doom scrolling yesterday with political nonsense being bombarded and that. But hanging
Yeah.
out with friends at club night last night, just chatting was a great feeling. Kind of really re-energized me. As we were just talking before, maybe I'll just mention it now. Considering taking like a social media break,
hmm
just to disconnect. Like I don't feel like I get too trapped into it. Yesterday was the first day in a long time. I was like, man, I got trapped into it and I didn't break myself free right away. Because also, I don't want to just so much nonsense.
Yeah.
like,
It's a lot of garbage right now. We're in this political season right now where everybody's going to be divided again. It's like unless you're off social media and life is great.
exactly. So I might take that route for a little bit and see how that
Yeah,
goes.
absolutely,
it's
absolutely.
it's fine. We'll figure it out. The podcast will become regularly for everybody because
Sure,
that's fun.
sure. We need the podcast.
We
That's what keeps
need the
us
podcast.
going. Yeah.
How else are we gonna fuel the strength gains in the workout for the world's strongest warhammerer? I kn-
Yeah, which is like apparently he's a pretty faithful listener. So,
he is. So thank you for
and
that.
he's stronger than both of us combined, which is
Oh,
fantastic.
yes. he's actually we've been talking. He's got a warrior chaos army that he's building up, and he's crushing through it. It's great. I can't wait
Yeah,
to.
he is actually super consistent with hobby.
Yeah.
That's like pretty, like he's. I mean, honestly, he's like you, but without the long hair and much stronger.
Yes. Yes. I have more hair. He has more muscles. He
Yeah.
has. I mean, well, yeah. It's funny. Anyway, um,
um,
Alex, real quick, how's your lawn?
my lawn actually needs to be cut. I was going to cut it last week, and I didn't because it didn't look really bad. We didn't have a whole lot of
Mm-hmm.
rain,
Mm-hmm.
but now it's starting to look slightly bad. So my plan is actually given the enough time, I'll be cutting it today.
There you go. There you go.
How about your lawn?
My lawn, it's not as bad. Like it's probably been 2 weeks, but it still looks like it's just on the edge of needing to be cut.
Yes.
So, which is nice. We're entering the season where we get to cut it less and less. So I'll
Yes.
probably push it off until maybe like Friday evening.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, just do it before the weekend, just to relax. Because I might be going. There's a Highland Games this weekend out here in my way.
Oh, no
Um,
way.
not participating yet again. There might be some. I might be. I don't know. But I usually just like to go hang out. Put on my
hmm
put on my tartan and have a good time. So, but we'll see. It depends on how we're feeling. Because
Sure.
yeah, maybe
Yeah. Wow, that's actually I did not. Well, where you live is also where I live.
hmm
So maybe after the show you can tell me where that's at because that sounds pretty good.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's the Ligonier Highland Games. It's
Okay. Well, there
Idlewild
you
Park. So yeah, I'll tell you right now.
go. Perfect.
We'll talk about
Wow.
it. We'll talk in chats. Maybe we can go together because I'm not sure if my wife wants to go this year.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um.
Absolutely.
Anyway, uh, you had an event this past weekend. Unfortunately, I was unable to
Yes.
attend despite a very early, very kind invite, but I actually had plans prior to that. So tell us about this event you ran, Alex.
Yes. Yes. I actually had a number of people after I posted it on Instagram be like, "Why was I not invited?" I'm like, didn't think about it.
It's
Sorry.
always the hard part. Yeah.
And I was like, I would have totally invited you. But yeah, so we held the first biannual Hammer Strongman Backyard Games. We're still working on the name.
That's fair.
That's what we held. Basically, just got together with a bunch of my dudes, a bunch of my friends. Some of them into working out and lifting. Some of them did sports, collegiate sports.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of them actually did strongman in the past. Did like fire truck pulls and all sorts of things.
Just a bunch of active dudes pushing heavy stuff.
Just a bunch of active dudes getting together. Their wives joined. We had some other people from our community join. And it was good stuff. We It was a beautiful day. It was perfect weather. We lifted heavy things in my backyard, and it was a really fantastic time.
Yeah.
I'm
So
not sure if you. Well, go ahead.
I was going to say I will be sure to put a link to your Instagram post about where you talk about it. at the top of the description, so you can look if you're not driving, you can, or lifting weights, you can look at the pictures as Alex explains and walks through the events he ran.
Absolutely. I think I'm missing. No, I think actually I have all the events in the right order there as well. So we did 6 events,
Mm-hmm.
and we did both individual and team scores. So there were
Ooh,
six.
okay.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. It was really like really had a team spirit going there. So the way we were scoring is there were 6 participants. So the max you can score for the event is 6 points, and the lowest you can score is 1 point if you're last, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then these total points were also given to your team. So if you scored first place in the event, giving you 6 points, you would gain 6 points for your team. And then your teammates got last and scored 1 point. They would give 1 point to your team for a total of 7,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So that's how, it was really simple. Really kept it very simple.
Yeah.
So we had both an individual winner and team winner at the end.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, it was more fun that way. Added some spice.
Yeah. A little bit of razzle dazzle.
Absolutely. The first event was mace swings for time.
Okay.
So it was a 20-pound mace hit on a tire. And the goal was to get as many swings on the tire, full rotation swings with the ball of the mace behind your body as many times in under a minute.
Okay. So you had
Right?
1 minute, as many as you could.
As many as you.
I assume you're allowed to like rotate your swinging side if you chose to, like the.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, you could rotate, but nobody actually did that because it would take a little bit extra time to do so. I
Yeah,
think maybe
unless you had that rhythm practice, that might be hard.
unless you had a different practice, which none of us did, right? Like I was probably the person the most experience, and last time I may swung for like a workout was maybe a month ago,
Okay.
right? Uh, that was the first event. Then the second event, we did Atlas stone to shoulder. So
Okay.
we did a 110-pound stone.
Wait, what was the record on the mace swing? What was the amount that they won it with?
Uh, I think it was like 57
Okay.
or
Yep.
55. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah, almost
Yeah.
one per second.
The secret was like finding a rhythm and just sticking to it, like not changing
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. If a mace, some people were trying to use the bounce of the tire, so they were hitting harder, but then occasionally the mace would go like sideways and
Yeah.
they
You
would
have to keep the
half a
control.
second hit.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. The best thing was just like do this back and forth. Uh, and then for event two, we did Atlas stone to shoulder.
Yep.
We used a small stone for most repetitions in 90 seconds. And it was stone to shoulder, arm off. We had somebody who used to compete in Strongman
Do the judging.
and do the judging
Yeah.
for
Cool.
us. Yeah, yeah. So if you see the my friend Jake, who is holding the phone, a lot of those videos are in the background. He was doing a lot of the judging for us for the events.
Nice.
So it was apple stone to shoulder, small stone, arm off. We did strongman rules. So as long as you lift the stone off the ground before time runs out,
You
you
can
can
get that
finish.
last rep in.
Yep.
Cool.
And after those 90 seconds, we had another 60 seconds to get the big 175-pound stone or bigger stone to shoulder as well with arm off.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was the who was how many 175 or 175 125-pound lifts on the stones? What was the winner there?
I believe it was me by 2 or 3 reps.
Okay.
And I think it was 19 or 21, one of those two.
Nice. Okay. There you go.
So we had 90 seconds, a minute and a half.
Yeah.
But it was a pretty good time. Then, and all the way you got the extra point for the big stone, you just got an extra point total for
Oh,
your.
gotcha. For your
That's
rep.
how it's a bonus point. Yeah. And we had one other person besides me who was able to do it. Another one almost did it.
Nice.
So,
Yeah,
which without any training, 175-pound stone to shoulder is not light.
No. It's like I'm trying to think what the stone I've done might have been like. I don't know if I've done 125 to shoulder yet, so it'd be fun to try it when I come out your way.
Yeah, you can absolutely.
I feel like I could, but yeah.
It was frustrating. It was frustrating. It was funny that it was frustrating you weren't there because people were like, "Where is the guy who does work out?" Right?
Oh.
To give Alex one for his money.
I'm sorry. I'll be there next time.
Then for event three, we did 85-pound farmer carries. That one there was no
Nice.
time limit. So what we did is we made a 20-yard distance, and
Mhm.
we did just as many times you can make that distance, right? So you get a point for walking the full 20 yards, If you stop a yard short, you're done. Like you don't get the point.
Oh, okay. That's tougher. Okay.
It
I mean, but
was
I get
tough.
it. It's hard. It's hard to do the measurement accurately, so that's probably a clean way to do it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we were like, how are we going to measure otherwise for longest distance with our capability? And we just did total distances of 20 yards. How many times you can do 20 yards?
Nice.
Um, that event was you'll see at that event I also won and I did
I'd say
seven.
that would be the one where if you said like I didn't win, just because people can surprise you with grip strength. Like it wouldn't surprise me if you just said I got second in that one, but just because you can't. Someone could just have crazy grip strength and not look
Right,
like they really work out because they climb rocks or something. But
right,
okay, or
right,
work in a
right.
lumber yard.
Absolutely. And I don't have that good of a grip strength for max
Mm-hmm.
repetition. But for some reason, like when we do farmers walks with you, for some reason I can go with a moderate width for a while.
Yeah, you're solid with them. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, yeah. Then event four, we did tire flips. The tire, I have no idea how much it weighs, but
That's
it's
always my
heavy.
question. Okay.
It's heavy. It's heavy. It's if you don't warm up, like if you just like if you show up to my house and you did it, you'll be like, whoa, that's heavier than I thought. Uh, if you're warmed up and you're doing it, it actually feels pretty light after
Hmm.
you're doing a few of them. But it's really and it's awkward, right? Because it's a tire,
Yeah.
right? You can't full grip on
Well,
it.
I'm trying to envision your tire because I don't know if I've seen it, but like how high is it off the ground? Like if it's sitting flat, because the bigger tires are a little bit easier, even though they're heavier, because you can get your chest into it. Is it? Can you get your chest into it whenever you
You
start
can
lifting?
get to
Okay,
it.
all right,
You can just do it.
gotcha.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Because like that,
So
I always notice that like the later ones is just I'm just using my arms and like my back, whereas the other one I'm
yes.
like using my whole body, so it's
The
actually
bottom you can, yeah, if you can get it
mechanically
under,
feels easier.
of
But
course.
yeah, okay,
Yes,
okay, cool.
absolutely. Once you get momentum going. So that one we also, I believe we did 15 yards for it instead of 20, and you had to cross the 15 yards and come back. So
Did
30
you
yards
did you have to
flips.
cross it fully with the tire, or the tire just has to
Cross it fully,
Okay.
which was interesting because some people like there was a foot worth of a tire still before like not crossing the distance.
Yeah.
And the secret was to like at the top just push the tire as much as you can so it does a little bounce.
Yeah, but you were on grass too, so it's not getting like that.
Not getting a lot of
Yeah.
slide. No. And that one, technically, I won, but in reality, my friend won. We also did the rule where it has to stay flat, like lay flat, and
Mm-hmm.
that's when it was over. And he dropped the tire, walked off. He dropped it. It flipped again because he dropped it hard, and it like kind of did a little spin thing and then dropped, which added like I looked at the video another 3.5 seconds. Which he beat me by 2 seconds, but he walked off without putting it in.
The tire showboated.
Higher showboat than So technically, I won that event, but I should have lost it given if he actually just pushed the tire down.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Sounds like a fun event.
Yes, it was really fun. All the events were very different, which was really fun.
What's really fun is like, and it's probably good because, like I said, you said some people who used to compete. You're strong. You haven't done a lot of strongman, so like you're actually doing a lot of like what I would consider more CrossFit
There
strength
is a
type
lot
stuff.
more.
But those
Yeah,
those do cross over pretty well. Yeah, because like I'm thinking here, I'm just like, oh man, I have suggestions of things that you could do with what we have. Like I'm like, man, we should do yoke walk, but like also, you know, that could be very rough because the strength level on that is going to drastically different as opposed to like what you're doing, which is like here's a tire flip that we can all probably do with some good effort and
right.
yeah.
The
I'm
coolest
probably thinking
thing.
too far ahead.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah, and yeah, we're thinking. A lot of people had suggestions for next year, which is great. Uh, as far as the events, I wanted them to be that most people who don't necessarily work out all the time could still do it,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And not nobody there was like, I don't want to say it, but like somebody who's weak. I would
Right,
say there was nobody there who's weak. Like we had former athlete, pretty much
right,
it
right,
was
right.
either athletes, people who are just naturally strong. No, my one friend, like I work out with, can deadlift 405 no problem without deadlifting ever, right? So we have some strong guys there,
Yeah,
but at the same time, there's not people who train quite as much as I do. Let's
yeah.
put it
It's
that
not
way.
like you went into this going like, hey, if you're coming to this, you better be able to deadlift
Right.
this much and squat this much
Right.
because like that that's
Exactly.
yeah. You're trying to keep it open and fun, so I get that.
Yes.
So what was the
Event
next
five
event? Yeah, event five.
was weighted runs for time. So we kept it, I believe, at around 12 yards. It was much shorter distance, and you had to grab the weight and carry it around the tire and bring it back, and then grab further weights. So we had 25 pound plates. So 25s, 35s, 45s, 85-pound dumbbells, and then a smaller 110-pound Atlas stone.
Okay.
That was an interesting one because that was purely like as fast as you can while also trying to like carry this weight and balance them around.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't be like farmer's carry where you're like taking your time. You really had to push yourself on this one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is the one event where I hurt myself the most because I slammed my knee full speed into a 25-pound plate.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah, that was the only one. That's the only injury from the whole event, actually, for
That's
me at
good.
least.
That's good. That's good.
Yes, and I actually do not remember if who won it. I'm pretty sure I was I was in the top three, but we had a lot of speedy people
Mm-hmm.
in our team who are just more cardiovascular strong. So I think somebody else pulled through with this one, but I don't quite remember the time. And the last event, which was the most masculine event I could think of, was a truck push.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was very good. For that one, I cannot remember the distance. I think it was 15 yards. It was either 15 or 20. So
Okay.
it was a pretty good, pretty solid distance. And yeah, all you had to do is you push a truck.
Yep. That's easy enough. It's
Yeah,
got
yeah, it
wheels.
really was.
It moves.
Yeah. It's weight on wheels,
Yeah.
right? But it was very fun to do. It was very fun to do. That one, the best time was I think 11 seconds,
Nice.
and I think it was 15 or 20 yards, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah. That's fun too. It's like because like it's how fast can you get that truck started? Because once it's going, it's not that hard to keep
As
it
long as
moving.
it's not going to stop going, yeah.
Right.
But the
So
first seconds are the
a bigger,
slowest.
strong person has a weight to push into it. So
Yeah,
that'd be very interesting. But okay, that's good. That's good. Sounds like a fun time.
yeah, it was a good time.
That's.
Absolutely fantastic.
I look forward to attending the second biannual. So are you
Yes,
doing it two every year or every
we're
other
hoping.
year?
We're hoping.
Okay.
Yeah, we're hoping to do a fall one and a spring one. So we'll have a quite a bit of time before the spring event.
Okay. Time to get stronger then, I guess.
Absolutely,
Gotta go win
absolutely.
this event.
Absolutely, man. You got yeah. It was actually people were saying that next time, if you don't show up again, you should be in charge of making all the events.
Oh,
We had an
I'd,
unfair
I'd,
advantage.
I'd be I'd be happy to throw ideas out for events that would be fun. Like I love yoke walks, but like yeah, it's the thing too. Like where I might be thinking like I don't want to limit the people that you'd want to invite because I make something that's like three of us. Like you know what I mean. Like
Like you need to actually have some mass on you to do, for example.
yeah. Like I don't want to. But yeah, it's that style. But like then again, I can think of more CrossFit maybe things that I could throw out there, and then you could figure out
Yeah,
maybe how would you twist it to be more strength oriented potentially. So,
absolutely. Yeah,
but yeah, we could
yeah.
do yeah.
You were dearly missed. You were dearly missed. I
It
hope.
was
I wish you were there,
I
but it
was
was.
excited to see the pictures whenever you put them up. So, but I had a good time. I was over some friends. We meet up every month. It's
Wow.
been like the friend circle for a while that we always do this. And I got to repair one of my friend's childhood Game Boy. So while
Aw,
you were doing the heavy stuff, I was doing soldering in my quicker stuff. But it was a
you
good
were
time.
nerding out.
I was nerding
That's
out
cool.
hard. It was good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Great. I'm excited. Like I said, I'll put the if you didn't look, I'll put the link in the description below so you can check out Alex's post on it because it looked like a fun time.
Hmm.
It looked and it was a beautiful day that day, so I'm sure it was phenomenal.
It was gorgeous.
But
Hey, I had a question for you.
oh
You
sure,
post earlier this week about your fitness journey and kind of showing up to
yeah,
the so
yeah, no,
tell me
that
more.
sure, yeah, sorry, yeah, I actually completely forgot about it because actually it's really fun right now, with where I'm at because I had a went on went on vacation and like I said, working out wasn't a priority, just having a good time and all that sort of stuff. Came back, was hitting the gym, but then very shortly after, actually not shortly, it's probably like a week after, because it wasn't from the convention, it was from my mother-in-law gave my wife some flu.
Ah,
So, you know, I was trying to get back into that first week back after being off for a week. I was
sure.
like, it was a very casual. I was like, just move, like like as Dave says, just move.
Yep.
That's all I was doing. I wasn't really going heavy on anything, just getting into the flow of it. And then she got sick, so I was taking care of her and I was doing home workouts, which my home
Hmm.
workout isn't as robust as like the YMCA and especially doing it
Sure.
alone. And I kind of
Sure.
just fell into like this laziness trap. where I'm just like, I don't really need to deadlift. I can just do this. Like I can do
Sure.
RDLs with dumbbells that are light or something. Just and
Sure.
like I said, it was moving, but then it was just like, I only got there twice this week. Well, that's fine. I'm taking care of my wife. It's gonna happen. And then the week after, it was just like, 1-2 days. And it was just like, yeah, I've been lazy, and
Yeah.
you start feeling it. Like my body's just like, what the fuck? Like I was literally just sorry, I'm swearing early in the morning because um
Okay.
uh yeah, like I was literally just like middle of the day one day. I'm like, I just have to do arm curls because like my biceps were just like, I
Yeah.
need to move. Like
Yeah. Do something.
I feel weird. Move me.
Yeah.
So I would just do like curls and just do some stuff. And I was like, okay, I've been lazy. I need to get back into it. So I really got myself up. So like Monday morning, got up, and it was like I still didn't really feel like it because I was outside of that rhythm. Just like, no, go and do a workout and go heavier than you think you can. And it was great because the next day and even yesterday, chest was sore,
Yeah.
arms were sore. I was like,
That's
oh,
good.
that's good. I did legs yesterday, legs are sore today. I'm like, this is great. I'm gonna do
That's
deadlifts
really fun.
tomorrow.
I love it.
Yeah, well, it's just one of those things where it's just like breaks are fine, and I think everybody, sometimes you need to deload or take a break.
Absolutely.
Um, but like I was like, man, this break turned into just me being lazy.
Sure.
Um, So it's like, yeah, and it's the same thing. Like the last podcast we have, I'm just like, yeah, alcohol's not really doing anything for me to get me where I want to go. So like, let's trim that back and maybe cut it out. Like it's just like right now, social media I don't think is really mentally helping me. So maybe I trim it back and cut it out for a week or two, just to do that stuff. So yeah, but no, thank you for calling it out because yeah, my laziness was kicking in, but I've the discipline kicks back and goes, nope, we're doing this. So like you
Absolutely.
said, and like I said, I still like it because Monday I did 235 on the bench. I did 315
Nice.
for squats yesterday. Like I said, and that's kind of like my level. And tomorrow I'll do at least 4 or 5 on a deadlift. Like I want to make sure that that's my minimum on
Sure.
all my lifts. 225, 315 on squats, and then four or
Sure.
five
Sure.
deadlift.
Sure.
I want to make sure that's my minimum, and I feel good doing
You
it.
can keep it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I don't want to slip past that until like I'm
Sure.
I guess getting much older. But I'm gonna be strong forever, Alex.
You won't. You won't. No. 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 You won't. I
No,
think maybe 70s, but
maybe
you'll
70s.
you'll be
70s are
lifting
good.
that into 60s.
Yeah, but it feels good. Especially too, like part of me wanted to like reach out to you, be like, hey, let's get a workout in. But I'm like, no, if that's more motivation. I needed the discipline to take over.
Yes. That's cool.
So
Yes.
like, next week I'll probably be like, hey, Alex, you want to go to the gym? Let's figure this out. We'll get it. We'll get it. But
I'll get
um,
one in.
yeah, but it's it feels good. It feels good being sore. I'm like, oh, I love it.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Good. I'm glad you're pushing yourself. I'm glad you're honest with yourself about like, hey, this is not just restful anymore. I actually am not good, not pushing myself nearly as hard as I need to be.
Yeah, and like, I'm not beating myself up over it because like it started out with vacation
Yeah,
into taking care of someone
absolutely.
who's sick. So it's like okay, and then it's a slippery slope, and hey, whatever, get it corrected and get back at it. Um,
Absolutely.
well, before we wrap up here, Alex, what's your hobby looking like? Any hobby going on right now? And if not, that's fine. It's okay.
My hobby is buying models.
Nice.
That's my hobby. It's for the last 15 years. No, I bought more Zombicide models before I even finished the last ones.
That's hey, whatever.
There was, I think, since our last podcast, I put a couple more colors on those Zombicide minis.
Nice.
Lately, it's just been like, hey, I have half an hour here. Let me just do this. Hey, I have a few minutes here after. It's a long day. I really want to go to bed, but I kind of want to relax a little bit. I'll do this.
Fair.
That's what's been mostly. I am pretty excited. I got a Paul Bonner, way out of production Zombicide Survivors box.
Ooh, nice.
Cool. It wasn't super expensive. It was
Nice.
only like $20 more than what it's originally cost.
Not bad.
Pretty good deal. I found it on eBay, so I'm excited to build it and paint it at some point. And also, shout out to Mini Wargaming. He recently released a Just Move model.
Yeah, statue.
Yeah,
Really, that thing's
yeah,
huge.
yes, yes. And I got one of those, so I'm gonna try to build it and prime it and paint it and uh, have it on my shelf to inspire.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, I'll put a link to that down below. I did not get one, but I'm not really in the mood to paint a statue. You know what I mean?
That's fair. It's more
Like
like
it's
a yeah,
yeah, it's a different type of piece. Eventually, one day now, I will. And I'll go pick one up. But yeah, everyone, if it's cool. It's cool. It's a cool little thing.
yeah,
So yeah, I'll put a link down that below so you can go check that out and see Dave's journey because it's a fun journey.
absolutely.
Well, with that, we shall sign off for the moment, and you'll see me and Neil coming back, and I'll talk my hobby, and we have a fun topic for you today. I won't spoil it. It's more of a conversation piece, but it'll be good. It'll be good.
Very good. Looking forward to it.
All right, see you guys on the other side. And we are back. And finally, the king has returned.
Oh,
boy. Neil's back on the podcast where he belongs. No more
seated on my throne.
Yes. He's been busy. He's had breaks. It's fun. He's got the owl mug. I got my daughter's a cane mug. Cheers. Mm-hmm. What are you drinking tonight?
I've got some tea. It's like a pumpkin spice tea. Just because I'm a basic bitch, and it's feeling like fall outside.
I have pumpkin spice hot chocolate.
Nice. Oh my god.
We didn't talk about that, folks. We're just that basic. Oh well, Neil, how have you been? How's things going? I know.
I've been good.
You have been missed.
It's been good. I've had some time to get some hobby done. So I finally, if last time I was on the podcast, I talked about trying to finish up stuff for John. It is completely done. It is still sitting in my house, but needs to go away. We missed a meetup for reasons, but so it's got to go away before I can actually not have to think about it anymore. But that's done. If anybody watched the tale or listened to the tale for Warlords, I got 20 more. What are they? Sisters of Avalorn.
Sisters of Avalorn.
Done. Avalorn.
Well, to be fair, I could be wrong in that pronunciation.
I have no idea. We'll go with Avalorn. Sounds better, right?
Well, actually, on the side, I decided just today, while I was kind of hobbying, because I didn't really. I was like, all right, let me get ready for the podcast. I was kind of ready. Still a couple hours away, so I was hobbying. And I was like, let me watch some of the Warhammer TV stuff that is on there, because I'm a Warhammer. I have subscription. So I watched the rest of Black Talon, which still, it's phenomenal. It is worth subbing to watch that. You know Kurnothi, right?
Sure.
Yeah, Kurnothi. That's apparently how you're supposed to... Yeah.
You know what's funny is, especially with old world stuff, a lot of my pronunciations come from me being 11 years old and trying to sound these things out, but then saying it in my mind so long that just is what it is. Yeah. So when I hear somebody say it correctly, I'm like, huh.
But also there's a thing too, it's like if it's from like a GW source and it's like, oh, that is how you say it, but if it's someone else saying it differently, they could have just done the same thing in a different manner. So it's really
it's true.
Oh, also, by the way, for Warhammer TV, that Tithes 40K animated series, there's 2 episodes out right now. Oh my god, it's so good.
Does it feature Tau?
No Tau yet, but the X-Knight was good. Yeah, it's like it's random stories, but it's about like the tithes that planet owes. And I watched the second one. The second one was really good because it was all about like a cocky Sisters of Silence and like the Custodies go into a Tyranid planet that was going to be exterminated because they're building like a fire line. It's a whole big thing, but she does sign language, which is super cool. Mm-hmm. But no one knows what it is other than her custodian partner, so she'll and she's the one going. The custodian's just accompanying her, so she'll like go up to the person in charge and start doing sign language, which I can't do. So I'm doing that. Sorry.
Sure. Boppity boopity, beepity bop.
But they don't know what's going on, and she is such a sassy bitch. Like they're like, what's going on? And she'll just sigh and look at the custodian. The custodian will translate essentially. And there's one point where this woman goes, is everything okay? Like, is... and since she knows that she can't understand it, she just signs, no, your world is doomed and everyone upon it. And the custodian just looks back and goes, all is well. It's like, oh, I feel the energy of that. It's like, don't make me start an army just from one sassy character.
Yeah.
Like you're going to. Sorry, I went off topic there.
No worries. So, but yeah, aside that, I did play a game. I played a game of AOS. We can get into that a little bit later. Nice.
That's good.
Yeah,
I've had some stuff too. But before we get into any of that, I need to know, how is your lawn doing, Neil?
My lawn is great right now. So yeah, I mean, it's not. I will say it's great. It's good. It doesn't have a fresh cut on it. You know, it can't be great without a fresh cut. But it's. I haven't had to really work on it lately, which means it's great. It's been maybe a week since I've cut the grass. It's perfect.
Yeah, I was saying earlier, I'm about 2 weeks off of cutting the grass, but it doesn't look awful yet. So probably cut it this weekend when I get to there. Um, I forgot to say this. It's technically lawn talk. I have a root cellar attached to my house, and I cleaned it out. I can walk in it. I can store stuff. There's a shelf for my garden tools. Oh, it's beautiful. I count that towards long talk because
absolutely.
yeah. It's plus also it's easier now for me to in my basement where I record podcasts and do Warhammer. I can literally go out the basement to go out back to prime models, so I don't have to go upstairs and out. It's just through and back. It's a great process. It's wonderful.
Awesome.
But with lawn talk being so well, we should probably move on to some hobby.
Yeah.
All right, so let me bring up the hobby because Neil sent some lovely photos, and I added my own too. But we're gonna start with Neil. I see some Sisters of Avalorn here. A whole big unit of them.
Whole big one. Yeah. That's actually 20 of the 30. So, and actually, as I think about it, if anybody goes through and actually counts them, it's probably 16 because I thought I had all 20 there, and then I looked back when I took that picture, and there's like 4 missing or something. In one of the pictures I sent you. But anyway, there is 20 that reside in this house. Actually, a total of 30 because I did 10 others earlier. So, yeah, they're nice. Like them just as much as the other ones I did. Like the colors. The cloaks are like a very, very, very fine shade off of the first 10 that I did because it's a different paint.
Sure.
It's very, very, very close. I mean, if I had never told you that, you probably would never tell.
Yeah, once you mix them together, you'll never notice.
Yeah. So.
Nice.
But yeah, pretty good.
And then some Blood Knights, a vampire.
Yeah. So, Blood Knights are not my best work. There, these are the models for John. I hate to say that, but I've sent him pictures and everything. He loves them. Thank God he's easily pleased. So when I originally did my Soulblight Grave Lords, I did them like with a purple scheme, like as much as you can do purple because everything's bone and everything, whatever, right? So the splash of color that I chose was purple. So the problem with Blood Knights is, and vampires in general, if like based on the box art, right, they're always wearing red armor. You can't do red and purple. No. It clashes too much. Looks terrible. I don't think you can do red and purple. So I decided to do like.
Hold on, I gotta bring us back here for a second. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. All right.
Uh-oh. Well, for those of you at home, I think Chuck is trying to go prove me wrong here. Yeah.
My Daughters of Cain are red and purple.
Are they really?
Yeah, they're red and purple.
That's not like a rich purple though. That's kind of a muted purple.
No, it's Gene Stealer purple, and the closest simulation I could get to it. And then I've started mixing in more Incubi Darkness, but my main colors are purple and red for that army. They don't clash.
Well, the purple that I have, and with a bright red, I don't know. I was worried that it would not look right. So, but maybe you just proved me wrong there. But what I decided to do was a dark metal, because there's like metal all over those horses. Like it's all barding.
Yeah.
A little bit of like horse, some bone scattered in here and there, and a couple pieces of leather, right? So I did like a dark metal with some like bronze to kind of pull out some of the highlights of the model there, and then I did it like a silver for the armor for the vampires, because if they're vampires, right? They need to be, they think they're all that, right? So we put them in some silver, right? I don't know if it translated very well with how it turned out. It's okay. From 3 feet away, sure. Just don't zoom me, bro.
Hey, it works.
I did them in that color because John actually bought all my Soulblight off me, so he has my full army, and he's been playing with pretty much my full army and then other Blood Knights that don't match the scheme. And so he had sent me these Blood Knights to paint up, and so these ones will in fact match most of his army, looks like. So, he doesn't really care as long as they're painted, and he can play with them in tournament. He's not too bothered by it. So, and he does not paint one stitch by himself. He does not care to do that at all. He will pay to have it done and pay well to have it done, but he will not do it himself. So.
Hey, it works. He's got a great painted army. You had the experience of painting it. All good. Looks fine. It's a done model. It's better than a not done model.
Correct.
All right. Well, I know I probably talked about this on the last couple episodes, but just to show pictures, and you guys will see this all again when you watch the next episode of Taylor for Warlords. But finished up my next unit of Pegasus Knights, my second unit and last unit, thankfully. Super fun to keep doing that whole process of them in lance formation, descending to the ground. So very happy with that. Also had some Knights of the Realm on foot. I actually used, the box comes with 20. I really didn't know what to do with them, so I took 10, gave them great weapons, took the other 10, and one of them made to order the Paladin on BSB because I just won't need him. Like, he's not, I bought it because it was rare, and I was like, I don't really want it. So traded half this box and that guy to get my one friend, Bob Chica, who's a professional painter, to paint my 2 damsels that I got from the made to order. But I fell in love painting these guys. These were so fun to build and paint, and I don't know why. It's been a while since I had a kit where I'm like, I just love this kit. I don't regret getting rid of the other 10, but it's one of those things where it's like, hey, if they perform well, maybe I'll go buy another box, beef this unit up a little bit, and make a second unit. It's the sword and shield option. I don't know, but they were super great to paint. Probably because they're very open as compared to the rest of the army that's very like closed with like the older sculpts on the horses and stuff.
Yeah.
And then my last piece was I realized this during the dwarf show 2 weeks ago that I had an extra command squad of men at arms just sitting in my bits box because the box for Bretonians that it came with just had 2 with it, so you could do 2 units of 18 or something. I just never built and painted these guys, so I just did those over the past couple days. So
Nice. I was wondering why those 4 showed up. I was like, what's going on here?
yeah, it's just a little randomness, but it's all good. It's all good. But that's other than GW stuff, which is a lot of stuff at the moment.
For me, my printer finally blew. Finally, I tore it apart. I tried to fix it. It was not to be fixed. Carl's like, you idiot, why'd you throw it away? You could have used whatever pieces did work for spare parts if you get another one. But I'm not sure I'm getting the same one. I am going to get another one. I don't know when that is. Probably be looking around, luckily November's coming up.
Black Friday potential.
Yeah, to see what they got going on for a Black Friday deal. See if I can sneak something pretty cheap in.
I'm sure you
can. Then, I know, so I have Carl. Carl's printing out me. He's already printed 2 Lothern Skycutters for me. So those are done.
Nice. Although, looks like we lost Neil here. So we'll give it 1 second, see if he comes back. If not, I'll have to pause the recording. Yep, we'll have to pause. We'll be right back after these technical difficulties. Okay, and we're back after the random internet crash of 2024, September 12th.
It's that Ohio internet, I don't know. Maybe somebody was, busy eating their cat in Springfield. I don't know. And they stepped on the cord that, runs the whole thing. I don't know. But.
The memes.
Yeah, Jesus.
Anyway, we were talking hobby stuff. I think we didn't talk about any games yet. Did you get some games in?
I did get a game in. So my pledge was to play Caradron for 6 months.
Yes.
No matter how bad they were, I was going to play Caradron. Okay, I was going to play AOS with Caradron. All right, and I did. I played it again. So I lasted a whole 2.5 months, and 3 games.
Okay.
And then I discovered that I'm not really playing AOS with Caradron, so the pledge is null and void. So as you can see right here.
Yep.
We're going back to Old Faithful here.
Yep.
Okay?
So, someone, I don't want to say the KO broke the oath, but GW rules team maybe broke that oath for you. So I understand going back to the Old Faithful corn. Can't go wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, goodness. I mean, it's very apparent what was done with the indexes, right? They took a look at the current battle tomes. They tried to shift them in to AOS 4
Yep.
to kind of make the war scrolls like AOS 4ish, but they didn't consider how the army worked in the old rule set compared to the new rule set. I don't think. Now, don't they threw rules for the new rule set, but they didn't really think about because, granted, they had a lot to do, right? And I feel like they were just like, okay, well, here's pretty much the same thing, so it should work, right? But it does not. It does not work at all.
Well, so, it's you see the new Skaven battle tome. I haven't watched any reviews on it, but from what I've heard of some like high level reviews, is not much has changed, which doesn't bode well for people that maybe need a change in their upcoming battle tome. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's early on, but
yeah. And the Skaven battle tome was probably already on the printers, right? I mean, by the time that was released anyway. So
I'm sure the first like 5 or 6 are on the printers.
Yeah,
like they have to be. It's they gotta be that so far ahead. Which honestly, I don't think the issue is that they're having. Well, I don't want to blame the rules writers for having to rush. I want to blame the 3-year cycle. I think the 3-year cycle is wrong. I think we need 4 or 5. I would say probably try 4. 5 might be a lot. I don't know.
And how about this? Maybe if it's a good rule set, it's a good addition, then 5. If you're hearing a lot of hoot and hollering and pitchforks and torches, then maybe we bump it up a bit.
The problem is those pesky shareholders.
Sure.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, I do too. But go fuck yourself. I hate it. Being shareholders just feel so anti-consumerism in both my not both, but video games and Warhammer just seem to make the worst things pop out. Granted, it's far worse in the video game industry, but that's also dealing with a lot more money, a lot more companies. If there probably is something about the stability of Games Workshop being the only one that's like the true king right now.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But yeah, no. I'm trying to think. I can't remember if I talked about it in the last show, but I did play my 3rd game of Age of Sigmar 4.0. It was good. Had a great time. It was we didn't rush through it. It was just like a hangout type time, but we did the battle tactics. We did the full kit and caboodle, and yeah, I liked the game. It was all right. I'm not going to say no to playing a game, but also at the same time, I don't know if I'm eager to go to tournaments.
Yeah, no, I have no interest in that whatsoever.
Yeah,
none, 0. Unless it's a bunch of people I know playing, and I just want to hang out. But that's more about being around people than it's about actually playing the game, right?
That's a club day, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, which actually kind of leads into the main topic, unless you had any other hobby you wanted to discuss.
Let's go. Who knows how long this internet's going to last?
That's true. We'll move it. So, I feel this is my own views of everything. Over the course of time, I think it's pretty safe to assume, from my viewpoint, what I see, is that this current Age of Sigmar rule set was built with a primary focus in mind for the tournament scene. We can call it competitive tournament, whatever, what have you. For the baseline structure of it. I'm not saying that's bad, not saying that's good, but if you look back 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, it's all been shifting more towards what 40K has become, which went through the same process over a slightly longer period of time, to the point now where 40K, like, hey, do you want to play 40K? Yeah, I just want to line up models and kill, or we make up our own scenario. I'm not doing any of their secondaries. I do not care. That's way too much. It's not engaging to me, and it's way too much to keep track of when I want to have fun.
Right.
Also, just for Warhammer Fantasy battles and then into Warhammer the Old World, most of my games were just pick up, and that game plays a little better more towards just run at each other and kill to be fun. But most of my games were just that, put the models down. Maybe we make some scenario, like, or we'll do Watchtower, or we'll make up a little scenario as we go. But the default has always been to just put models down, let's have fun. And kill each other.
Right.
Let's play war. That was Warhammer. And then I've realized it was like a piece in a chat that you said that really sparked this thought. And you'll probably have to restate what you said to encapsulate it. But I feel that the default for Sigmar, for the vast majority of folks, at least the circles I know of, playing the tournament style game, as in GHB, Season of War, Battle Tactics, is the primary way we play this game. And is that a mistake? Are we losing something because we have defaulted to that, as opposed to, like, I do the opposite in all my other games, where I don't care about your tournament pack for it. I just play, and I have fun with it. So
the problem is, so the way, what kind of got us sparked on this is, if I play Karajan Overlords currently right now, I can't play with manifestations, right? I don't get them. So if somebody else gets them, I'm already at a huge disadvantage. The army does not make up for not having manifestations in any way, shape, or form. The army at its base is already weaker, I feel, than every other army out there to begin with. And then you don't get manifestations. So, I popped and I kind of playing around with talking to Carl, like, hey, why don't we just not play with manifestations? And let's not play with any of these. And we didn't play with the tournament rules. So, like, by the tournament rules, I mean the seasonal rules, right? So, right. Because there's a lot of issues with the seasonal rules right now too, that I feel like change the base game too much and turn it into, and this goes back into AOS 3 as well, when they were doing these seasons with these different rules. There's such a restriction now in AOS 4 of what you can even bring. Right, like I'm spoiler alert, I'm switching to Khorne, right?
Right.
And for many of those reasons that I just stated, right? The KO just does not play in the same space as everybody else does. So there's no point of even trying, right? So Khorne has an abundance of war scrolls, and they're not even the most egregious one, right? I mean, you could look at Stormcast as an extreme example. Lumineth, ton of war scrolls.
They're getting up there. Daughters can't have a decent amount. Yep.
Yeah. And so based on the point costs being higher, and based on the way you set up regiments and everything, I can take 2 heroes, possibly 2, right? If I want to play tournament style and try to get down to 1 drop, maybe even, I think the base you're going to see most of the time is 2. But the reason why you're going to see people not trying to get that 1 drop is you're going to see the 1 hero that's the general, and then nothing in his regiment.
Right.
And because the current season rules have so many ways to score points off of kill X in the general's regiment, right? So I don't know. It's just like, it's so restrictive to me. I'm like, ooh, this has a cool rule that could kind of synthesize with this next unit, and then this one too, and I could build. Oh yeah, that's right. I can only have two heroes. So, ooh,
well, now why do you say you can only have 2 heroes? Is it because you're trying to do a 2-drop army?
Because I'm trying to do a 2-drop army to be competitive,
right?
In the game that I'm about to play,
as opposed to what if we weren't, I think, mentally stuck on the GHB. And here's the thing, and when I was talking to club member, friend of the show, Brad, I was kind of running this whole conversation past him. He had very different thoughts, so like, it was like I'll throw those in as I can, because it was very, very poignant, and like he called stuff out on me that I'm like, that's really, like, oh my gosh, never thought of it that way. That's really cool. Which is why I like these types of conversations, because they're fun. And it's like things I think they're enjoyable to discuss. But the GHB itself as a tool is remarkable. That little thing that has all the core rules, great. I love it. I can play the game with that. It's just those few pages on the season where it's like, if we're bringing the GHB, it feels like every game I play by default is going to use those rules, as opposed to, can I just show up to a game and just not use them? I mean, I can. It's small modular. They've given us permission to do it, more so than they have in other editions, to just say, you don't like battle tactics? Cool, don't use them.
Yeah.
But we tend to default to it. Now, here's the thing. Do I have to use it to find a true winner of the game. Like, is the GHB essentially like a DLC, like, that they haven't finished the game, but that finishes the game for me because I have to use battle tactics to get these extra points and yada, yada, yada. That's also a different topic, but I feel like we've missed the mark as a community. And I said, maybe it's just our local community and our circles, but just to show, like, every time I list build, I have to think about what I'm doing, and it's all kind of focused around the fact that I want to build a tournament style list in essence, or even a competitive style list, and I feel like I'm restrained by that too.
Yeah.
It's actually really interesting, and even with list building, like you said, I hate the list building now. I don't enjoy it. It is not engaging to me. I feel there's more creativity and more play in how you can thematically play or create armies if you have those rails like core, battle line. Like, you sort of have this hero can bring these ones, but I could just auxiliary everything and just spam the best unit. It's just, but do I need 1-drop or 2-drop? And then like that circles back into, are we stuck in that mindset of it's always what the GHB says, and it's always about as if we're going to do a tournament style game.
Right. Well, the problem is, like, it's not just the game that you want to play, right? It's who you're playing. So if I'm playing, X person at a game shop, I kind of have to play match play, right? Because I don't know him, he doesn't know me, and we could talk about it, right? But I don't know what he wants out of his game,
right?
Unless I ask, right, ahead of time. And then also, sometimes you're asking a stranger to play a certain way. They might say yes, but that might not be the way they really want to actually play the game. So I think people default to it because it's just the easiest thing to do.
It's our universal language. And to be fair, way back when, early on, you and I were both supporters of this when the community was forming, and you and I were just becoming friends, about having a tool such as this, getting that universal language.
Yeah.
And for the second edition, I think it was great. Third edition had its ups and downs. Fourth edition's early. Who knows? Next GHB could really be very different. I'd be like, we could change our tune on it, but I don't know. I think we can do better if we didn't default to that as our default playstyle for Sigmar. And I want to try it, like, internally with the local crew, and just be like, hey, you just want to, let's make up this scenario, or let's do this, or what if I played 10 games without battle tactics? Will I realize I'm missing something in the game? Because that could be the case too. Like I said, maybe it's like a DLC that it's more needed than we realize.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so far, and again, I've only played 3 games, right? But and maybe because this is a little bit of me going back into third as well. But when you play a game of objectives, and when you play a game with battle tactics, and the way you score is largely the same in every game. Hold 1, hold 2, hold more.
Yep.
And then whatever the battle tactics are the same. So you're trying to achieve those the same. So it's just like somebody goes first and they seize the center. It's like, okay, I'll seize the center, right? Now maybe somebody does something different every once in a while, but the point is, it's almost predictable, like how the game's going to run at some level,
especially
right?
too.
You're going to try to do these battle tactics. This is what you're going to try to do, and this is what I'm going to try to do as well. And we're all just going to do the same thing back and forth till we see who did that same thing better than the other person.
Right, and I think it takes away some play style. Actually, oddly enough, Brad disagreed with me on this, but I said, like, you just play things very against the grain anyway. But like, if you're playing giants right now, your whole strategy to win is, I'm going to claim the center of this objective, see if you can take me.
Right.
That's it. That's all you have to do for giants, and you see if you win or lose. I feel like that's
if you
every
play
giant.
The game again, you play that over 5 rounds. What do you do every game? You do exactly that again.
Yeah.
In the next game, you do exactly that again in the next game, and with maybe some small variation, right?
Right. And I do want to separate too, real quick. I'm saying, like, we are at a club day and doing it. If you're going to a tournament, I expect tournament play.
Right.
That's what we've all consented to with that is, okay, we're using this. This is how we're being scored. So I'm not trying to knock that. I'm not trying to knock that people will play it this way at a tournament. I'm not trying to change tournaments. Tournaments.
No, I'm not trying to do that either. I'm just saying that the way the game is currently set up is it actually pushes you into making those choices. Like, you're not going to do something different, because if you did, it would not be productive for you. right? You're going to do the same things that cause you to win in every game. And because the battle tactics are the same, the missions are varied, right? But you're still doing the same thing. You're trying to hold one, hold two, hold more, with some little variations where, okay, maybe this objective blows up or, X, Y, or Z, right? So
Well,
I don't know. I'm just starting to feel like games are feeling very samey to me. Like and I don't get that feeling in other games.
this is part of it too. I think it's a very have and have not issue. Not the usual have and have nots discussion that you hear going around, where it's like, do you have the tools to break the rules or not?
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking. My daughter's a Kane. If I'm playing, even if I'm playing more in tournament, I don't feel my games are fully the same yet. I'm still early on. But that's because my army has variety. I can do a snake list. I can do a witch elf list. I can do this. I can do that. Mm-hmm. Those armies aren't going to feel as restrained to that methodology all the time.
True.
Because I have options. Because what I'll do is I will list build game to game. Granted, tournament, yeah, it's going to be the same. You're like, this is a list I'm bringing. This is how it works. I'm going to do this 5 times in a row. I said, not talking about tournaments. But I can list build between games to try very different things, very different play styles within certain armies. But, like, that's, I love Daughter's Kane. I'm glad they're one of the armies to do it with. Like, yeah, if I was like you with KO or I was like playing Fire Slayers, I'd be like, this is not fun after one game every like couple weeks,
Sure. But I think my it's not an argument to that. I mean, that's 100% fair. But again, even if you vary your army, you're still going to go after the tactics in similar ways. You're still going to just seize the center. You're still going to, for another one, have 2 units, over here. Like, it's just like, okay, yeah. I've seen that. I've seen it every game. We're doing this. Okay, every game, the way you want it is have these units over here, right? And every game, I have my unit right in the center here, and then this and that. And like, it's just the flow of the game starts to feel
samey.
Yeah.
And you're right. And like I said, maybe that's not necessarily just the GHB. We shouldn't be just harping on like those seasonal rules things. Maybe it's the core concept of Age of Sigmar 4.0 was more competitive tournament style play than it ever has been before, which has caused that. Because if we look at Old World, which was clearly not intended for organized play from the start, because everyone feels like we need to do comp here and there, which is fine, which is weirdly weird to say because I've switched my brain set so much on comp over the years. But I've never played the same game of Old World twice because the different table different where I'm going to put my units. If we're doing a scenario or just doing like a lineup and kill, what army am I playing? Like all that drastically changes. Whereas in Sigmar, I don't feel like it changes that much too often for people. So because it doesn't have to once you lock in.
Yeah. And I think that's like...
And to be fair, with my Old World, I'm running the same list. It just always feels different.
The way it works right now with AOS, and the reason why it's good for the tournament scene is because there isn't a lot of variation, right? As soon as you start introducing all these different types of secondaries that give flavor, what happens, right? 3rd edition happens, right? So where some books are great and it's a lot of fun, other books are just a mess, right? And you can't score any objectives or anything because it's too hard. It's flavorful, it makes you play a certain different way, but it doesn't work, right? So I don't know where the it's like, what kind of game do you want to play, right? That's the question right now. If you want to play that tournament style game, then AOS 4 is working real good for you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If that's your style, then you're eating well. If it's not your style, then you're kind of like where me and Neil are at. And it's just like, well, how do we find our soul and how we want to play this game with ourselves? Because it's a little different right now for us. So, I mean, obviously there's narrative play, and they are supporting Path to Glory in the Battle Tomes, which I thought might have been going away. I'm glad it's not. Yeah. But even with that, like they brought back the Anvil Apotheosis, which is kind of neat. But problem is, you need to plan to do that. So, like, and I know with a lot of my groups, I'd have to culturally kind of reverse the flow of things to get it there, which isn't impossible, but it's just like, leads me back to the thought process of, well, maybe we got more into the competitive than we realized. Yeah, I think there's too much order in some ways, but also, I want to counter it, there's not enough in other ways. I feel that the list building. There needs to be more rails in place.
I think the problem for me is maybe what makes it feel the same to me so much is it's not just the rule set, it's not just the battle tactics, it's not just the fact that you're doing the same thing every time, but it's also the fact that the armies are so small compared to what they once
Sure.
were,
Yeah.
right? So there's fewer units than what there once were, so I feel like tactically I have less I can do on a battlefield as well. And so, you know, I made a corn list recently, and it's 2 units of 20 blood warriors, 2 units of 3 mighty skull crushers, a skull priest, and a bloodthirster. And there's your 2,000 points. At one point, I was playing in AOS in a 2,000 point army, 60 blood warriors across the board, wrathmongers. I mean, I was 2 or 3 slaughter priests, maxed out 6 heroes, whatever it was, on top of all of this, right? You know, it feels so small now, and I don't know. It just feels. I feel so limited in the game by the list building, by the way that it's currently set up. And that being said, like, I still enjoy the games. Like, I'm not trying to poop on this, you know, too much.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
like there's some things that I just don't like right now, and I understand why they're doing what they're doing. They made the table smaller than what it once was, right? They made the points cost higher, so your armies are smaller, easier to collect. The prices of the models are higher, so if you can get a 2,000 point army with less models, right, at the higher prices, then everybody's happy. We can actually engage with this hobby, right? But for me, it feels like there's less tactically to do, less spaces to move, and you know the table's smaller. I don't have a huge issue with that, but when I sit down on my 4x6 and I play Old World, I still get I feel immersed in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see the army. You know what I mean? And I can't. I'm losing the feel that I'm playing a war game right now in AOS.
Yeah, not fully, but if I think back to 2nd edition, even 90 witch elves was my minimum starting of every list, and I would run upwards maybe 120. And I was not winning in every game. That's not running over people. It did good work, but there's reasons why I have 100 witch elves.
It doesn't necessarily have to win, right?
No.
It just has to make you feel like you're playing with what you want to be playing with. Right now, I don't even feel like I can play with what I want to play with.
Right,
and even if it doesn't win.
And last edition, you're limited on reinforcement points. Thank goodness they gave a Daughters of Cain sub-faction the rules to break that, so I could run my 90 witch elf list, essentially.
Right.
Now I had I had to get this, because guess what? All my witch elves are in groups of 30.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, if I want to run 2 units of 20, it's like units of 20 I don't like. I want a unit of 30. I could live with 20, but still, it's like, it's not what I want. It's not what it feels like running.
Yeah. Yep.
But
so, I understand smaller model counts speed up the games, but I don't feel like the game's sped up.
The game is not sped up at all. I feel like it's taken just as long.
Yeah. So
because there's more.
There's a lot of theories that have been in place that I feel like are not being proven true.
Right. Yeah. The constant interplay between you and your opponent, which is enjoyable.
Yeah.
That's eating up all the time that for the less models we have on the board, if you want to call it that.
Yep.
Because and this isn't like even. There's new strategies to learn. There's new things that we got to get through, like I guess what they're called prospecting units now. Like, sure, we can call it that. I'm still going to call them chaff, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
the units that go get you the objective, right?
Right. But man, it's just wild how much I feel like it's such the default, and like, mentally I want to break away from it so badly.
Yeah.
But how do we do that? Like, what's some ways we could do it?
I don't know. I think Path to Glory is a great start, but number one, I think what you do is you completely, and I do mean completely, throw out list building. the way it's currently set.
Oh yeah,
Like, yeah. I mean, you can keep the points, right?
points are fun. I think the points are points.
Yeah.
Points don't feel too off. Maybe like a unit here and there is off. The points can be adjusted, but like
Right.
my Daughters can feel good with what the points are.
Yeah, it almost feels like you have to throw in comp, right?
Yeah, list comp.
This is like list comp, right? For my enjoyment of the game, right? Like, is number one, let me play what I want to play, or at least let me have the option of playing what I want to play. You can't, from a rules writer perspective and everything, you can't make everybody happy all the time. I don't
No.
expect them to know what makes me happy and what I want, right? But when you write the rule set and you restrict list building to the point that they have, you're not helping your cause.
Well, it's also just it's less engaging. And I said once again, maybe the core concept of this whole edition was more tournament style play as the core concept. Even like I was waiting for the Skaven first battle tome, Skaven or Stormcast, whatever it was. It's Skaven. I was waiting for those sub factions to be a little bit more robust than what they were in indexes. I wasn't alarmed because indexes are always going to be slimmed down. We build off of this, that's fine. It's a quick reset for everybody. But if those sub factions are just what they are on like the index that I have now, there's like you're just ripping flavor away from me.
Yeah.
Like I want to, like I said, it's man, I don't know. I just feel like they're missing the boat with the sub faction rules. I feel like they're not going deep enough, but also at the same time, the way they've written this game, if they went deeper, it would throw things way off the rails, and it wouldn't be good for the health of the game.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. So it kind of is where it is, I don't know what they can do, except for play with list building a little, or what you can do with that. So I don't know. And the other thing too is like I have an enormous Khorne army, right? I have an enormous Stormcast army that I bought that's sitting there, right? And literally, I can play a 2,000 point army with, I don't know, an eighth of what I own.
Oh yeah.
Right. In just that army. So it's just like I feel like, and if I find something that really works well, right, I have to like force myself to handicap myself to go away with it, right? Like go away with it, right? Like to even like makes me competitive, right? I'm like, well, I kind of have to stick with this, or I just have to get comfortable with the fact that I'm going to get my face beat in every game, right? I don't know.
Yeah, and also too, man, I already miss allies.
I hate that. I hate it. I've always hated allies. You know my stance.
I know
on
you hate
that.
allies. I miss allies. I would rather them been maybe restricted even more. I don't mind allies being heavily restricted and heavily like what they are, but like
unit.
Yeah, but like I look over at my whole Daughters Kane army on display there, and like about a third of the third shelf, 1/3 of that, like one of the shelves, is just allies I've painted up for fun, and they're built and painted and based to go with Daughters of Kane.
Yeah.
And now they just look pretty because
Yeah.
I can't put them. A lot of them are like dark elf stuff, so I can't put them back into cities because they destroyed the city Har-Quran, or they destroyed Anvilgard, which is what it was. Har-Quran didn't make it into the new book, which is fine. I'm not complaining about that. So I started a new army, which those things won't fit in at all because it's a living cities army.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just like I don't know what else to do with them, and I don't need them in my old world army because I moved all the metal witch elves back down, which that was a fun thing to do. I'm glad I did that, but I also have 120 witch elves in metal just sitting in that box. I'm like, I don't need to do that for every unit for that army.
Yeah, you can do curls with them.
Good. Yeah, and but like I said, after all these things we've said, man, Age of Sigmar 4 is still enjoyable of a game.
Right. Yeah, it's just I think you have to understand what you're doing, and you're going to be playing, unfortunately,
The same game.
The tournament style Age of Sigmar. I don't know what the answer is right now to go away from that outside of really just kind of getting wacky in your own personal group, right? That's really all you can do. So I've got another game coming with against Terry possibly on Sunday. Where I'll play Khorne against him, and I'll have a blast doing it, right? But there's just things right now about it that just makes me want to, be an old man, yelling into the wind, which is
that's kind of what we're doing.
So,
Yeah, I'm planning to get a little crazy with the group, and I'm trying to brainstorm ideas. And as we get them and we find things that maybe is fun to work, we should definitely share them here on the podcast. But I'm not talking about comp, but it's like maybe it's just, hey, we're gonna list build, but list build as if it's 2.0 using the new points.
Yeah.
No season of war or season rules. Like maybe it's something like that. I don't know. Like that old app's still there. I can still access it.
Yeah. It's like whenever that's kind of what I want to try and do with this that map campaign we did, is just kind of force people into having a little bit more narrative fun with things, where okay, on this this hex is just some little village, right? So you get witch elves, right? But you don't get any of the real beefy stuff, right?
Yeah.
You don't get any snakes or anything like that. Kind of messing with stuff like that. Or you can even play Path to Glory and be like, okay, well, you're in this area right now, so we're going to agree that these units are off limits or whatever, just to shake things up a little bit, shake up your list building. But I think you have to be in a very with a group of gamers that are willing to explore that. And if they're not, I'm afraid you might be stuck.
Yeah, you may be seizing the center. Well, I mean, yeah, and I apologize if everyone's listening. They're just like, oh man, I can't wait for them to answer this question, because we don't have an answer to it. It's just something we've both come to realize, and we're trying to change within our own circles. At least try to.
And I really hope that at some point, GW, in terms of what they give us with these new battle tomes and everything, starts to, I don't know, but it does, maybe not even this edition, maybe next edition. We start to kind of look at okay, maybe we were a little bit too restrictive on this stuff, and maybe we need to give them back some more choice and that. But I don't know.
I would rather see them do like a narrative supplement, which they have said they're going to do more of throughout the edition.
Yeah.
I'd rather see one of those come in and be like, hey, this is a narrative supplement. It's not made for the tournament play, which is fine. We'll call it whatever you want. And it could wildly change stuff. It's like, okay, hey, this list building that you're doing, this is how you're doing it now.
Yeah.
Like, you have to, just something different. You can really mix it up. And it's not season rules. Maybe it's like, oh, here's a couple realms. Here's realm rules now or something. And like, oh, maybe here's like okay, pick your sub-faction, but then here's an extra little perk if you hamstring yourself in this way, like something narrative, but like to really change up the whole flow of not the flow of the game, but the flow of list building and your flow of playing out the game. And what I mean by flow of playing out the game is it's not this objective, this tactic, this objective. Like, it's not that. I meant the flow. Right. I meant the flow of that changing, not the flow of we're playing. Do you have anything to do and in my movement phase? No. Okay. I like that part. That's fine. That flow's fine. But
yeah.
We can hope. We can hope that a narrative supplement really comes in as just like, hey, we're gonna swing for the fences and have fun.
Yeah. The other thing you can do is you can kind of go back to just play a 3,000 point game, right? If you want more models on the table, like I do, play 3,000 point game and just say, hey, you can't have more the same unit more than twice, right?
That might hurt some armies though, because there's not enough units in some armies.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. So I guess if you're playing in your own circle of friends, then you have basically like a dungeon master or something like that kind of says, okay, well, you're too hamstrung by this, so all right, this is okay as long as whatever, so. But that's options, okay. But you're definitely getting into like a comp and a very narrative scenario at that point. So
right.
It could be a way to eliminate some of the gripes that I have anyway. So.
Right. Yeah. And we love Age of Sigmar, and we just want to make it even better within the way we want to play. So that's kind of this whole conversation. So
yeah, it's all about how you want to play with your own toys, and knowing that on the other side of the table there's somebody else who wants to play with their toys just a little bit different than you do, and that's okay. And somewhere in the middle we have to meet, right?
Yes. We just want to have fun. And this is, if it's not fun, why are you doing it? So, oh well. Well, I mean, I don't know where we go other than repeating the same thing over and over again, Neil. So maybe we could just wrap this up here. So any closing thoughts for you?
I mean, I think I've said my piece on all that stuff. So I apologize to people who are like super fired up about AOS right now and had to hear me just do my little moaning for the last 30 minutes. But overall, I really do think it's still like a good, fun system and everything. I just there's some pieces here that I think need tweaked.
Yeah, and that's fine. And I think there's things too. I wish list building was more engaging, because that used to be the thing I would do to kill time throughout my day to stay engaged in the hobby, was list build throughout the day. Now I don't. not for Sigmar, at least. So yeah, I hope to see like narrative supplements maybe come out and change things up. But until then, keep playing Age of Sigmar. We'll try our own things. We'll mix it up. Not much else to say.
Yep.
But all right, well, let us know in the comments what you think. Be sure to like and subscribe. Follow us on YouTube and wherever you do your podcast stuff, because we're there too. But until next time, everybody, stay Stormcast strong and happy hobbying.